Hey everybody, it's Sheila with Designs of a Baby Moon, and I just made this little flower snap tab design that isn't out yet, but I wanted to show you real quick. I'm making up my samples so I have listing pictures, but I just wanted to show you real quick because it stitches up so fast how you can make your own. And so follow along with me and I'll show you how to make one, and you'll see how fast and easy it is. So let me tell you what I've got. I've got my sewing machine set up with a 4x4 hoop because this is a single design that's one at a time. I've got regular tearaway stabilizer in my hoop, and I run the placement stitch, which is just the first stitch, which is an outline of the whole design so that you know where to place your top material. What I've got next is I've laid down a piece of yellow glitter marine vinyl that I got from myprintembroidery.com. There's lots of other places that do marine vinyl or glitter vinyl or canvas online, but I buy from Amy because she's super fast, and I don't have to search hard for what I'm looking for. So anyway, I've got a piece of yellow on here, and I've got white thread loaded, and so I'm just going to show you how the stitch is out. So we're going to run, this is step number 2. There's 4 steps in this design. So here we are, just sewing out the petals. It has 12 petals. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the process that I used to make this. So I wanted to see the other day how fast I could create a snapshot, and I just wanted to time myself on starting with nothing, no clip art or anything. And I thought, I'll make a flower. Flowers are easy, right? Well, flowers have petals and they have the middle, and they're not always symmetrical, and so I just started breaking down what actually makes a flower, and so I settled on the letter C. So all I did was take the letter C and make a bunch of copies of it, well, 12 copies of it actually, and then I arranged them around the center point, spread them out, and then added a circle in the middle to be the middle of the flower. So this is a super simple design, but when you're drawing something out, you're really not drawing the whole thing, you're just drawing elements, that are basically lines and curves. So that's all anything that's drawing is. And when we digitize an embroidery design, all we're doing is taking the shapes of the thing that is, and we're just making those happen with thread. So anyway, my goal was just to try to do it pretty fast, and from start to finish, I think it only took me about 20 minutes total to get this design right and ready to sew out. So I don't know if that means anything to you guys at all, but I just thought I'd share a little bit about the process that goes on behind the scenes. Once I get it to the machine, I stitch it out a couple of times so that I can see if there's anything weird that happens. I try to take care of all the weirdness on the computer, on the digitizing end first before I sew it out, so I don't waste as much material, but sometimes the design just doesn't do what you expect it to do, and it's a combination of things. It's a combination of your stabilizers and your thread and the material that you're sewing on. And who knows, sometimes it could be, the moon, but, weird things just happen sometimes. So I try to eliminate all the weirdness that possibly could happen on the computer end first, so that it's not as frustrating when you get to the machine. But anyway, I broke a needle earlier, so I know this is a new needle. I've got good thread in there, and I've got my stabilizer just right in my hoop, so it shouldn't take very long at all to sew out. But flowers are fun, and I asked my daughter Molly if she had the idea for the best flower ever, because I was going to do it in her colors, and she told me a rainbow swirl flower that swirls from the inside out in rainbow colors, and I thought, that's not what I've got here, so we're just going to go with what I got. So I made this purple one. Like I showed you first. So here's the white. It's on white glitter marine vinyl, and you can't really see the glitter here, but it's on white, and I used purple thread, and I put a purple snap on it for the yellow on it. So, all right, so we're almost done. It's almost to the last petal. And while it's finishing, I'm going to go ahead and drop some orange thread in the middle. not, nope, that one's tangerine. This one's hunter orange, and so that's a darker orange, but I'm going to use this other one. I don't really have a good reason. It's just what I feel like. So I can't see who's watching. I don't have the comments turned on because I've tried a new camera setup. So if you're watching and you're here, thanks for watching and hanging out with us. So, sorry, if you're watching and you're here, thanks for hanging out with us. And you'll see how fast this is. So I don't know how long I've been on, but from start to finish, making a snap cap is a super fast project. So, and I know some people have been asking me, I've been getting private messages about the license plates. I have 10 more to do, and yes, I'm working on those. The one I want to get next out of my head, I kind of have a mental block about the wording on it, just to how to get it just right. So it's coming. I'm certain of it, and it'll be soon, but I want it to be just right before I release it for you guys. So, okay, we're going to take the white thread off. We're going to load in the orange thread, and because I use these fat spools, I like to have it come off the machine upwards, and so I have a rigged system. I don't know if you can see it over here. Let me move that around. Yeah, I've got a little rigged system where my thread can come up off the spool instead of off the pin inside. So I have to do some little finagling to make sure it doesn't get caught on things like that, which it did. So we're going to start over. But the thread comes off smoother. Spools that are wound like this, they need to sit up so the thread comes up off the top. They don't need to sit horizontally. So if you have spools of thread, let me grab one, and this is just an example. You wouldn't use this particular thread in your machine, but if you have a spool of thread like this with the caps on it, like, you know, the end parts, you could let that be in there. But it's really best for these, I don't know, I call them fatty spools. They're not really fat, but I don't know why I call them that. Anyway, it's best for them to be up on the, coming up off the top. So let's thread that just right. There it goes. And let's sew that center of the flower. And then what I've already got ready is I've got a scrap of backing. So I think you guys may have heard me say, I use blackboard fabric for the back of most of my snap tabs. Just because when you're doing, when you're making a snap tab, this is a key fob or a backpack tag, and you kind of want it to have some body. So if your material is real flexible and thin, you're going to have a floppy tag if you use something similar on the back. So I like to use the blackboard fabric because it gives it a nice body, and it makes a really nice product when you're done. Okay, so that center is done, and there are no jump stitches in here to trim out. Now I've got a little place I need to trim where there was a little extra thread at the beginning, but it's not going to get in the way of anything, so I'm not going to worry about it. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to spray a little 505 spray on the back, and I'm going to take my scrap of blackboard fabric and I'm going to cover over the entire outline on the back. So I'm just going to place that there. You don't have to use 505 spray. You can take a hot glue gun and just, you would put a dot, you know, on your fabric. Just make sure it's not anywhere where it's going to stitch. So you could put a dot of hot glue gun. You could also use a piece of tape. Either plain Scotch tape works fine. Masking tape or blue painter's tape work great too. Just whatever. You don't have to get fancy. They make fancy embroidery tape. I think it's pink. And you can get that if you want to, but it costs twice what regular tape costs, so I don't think you need to go through the expense of doing that. So, and you're not sewing over it with your needles, so you don't have to worry about the glue or anything. You're just holding the backing on the fabric. I did not make it through that little catch. Let me do that. Okay, come on. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we're in there. Let's thread that. I put white in there, didn't I? I didn't want to put white. I'm going to take that out and redo it because I wanted to put yellow, because I wanted the outline on this to not be, I mean, it's obviously you're going to have a stitched outline, but I want it to kind of be unobtrusive. So I'm going to use the same color as the material. Now, a lot of times I like to use a, there we go, color for the stitching of the outside that coordinates with the inside, but on these flower ones, I don't want it to be seen. So like on the white, on this one I used white, so you don't really see the outside stitching even though you know it's there, obviously. All right, let's sew the outline. Here it goes. And it's going to sew all the way around at the same time, and it'll also make a tab. So So we're enclosing all of the stitches on the back. So now it's going to make a bean stitch all the way around, which is a triple stitch, and it's really nice. It's got a, if you are a sewer, it's got a finish like a top stitch. So you know when you're top stitching on jeans, you use a little bit longer stitch length and a little bit thicker thread. So the bean stitch gives that same kind of look to these designs. So this is a bean stitch going all the way around to create the outline, secure the backing on, and to create the tab at the top. Okay, so we've got the tab at the top, and we've got the outline done. So I'm going to take it off the hoop, and we're done. That's it. That's all you have to do for sewing. I'm going to move it so the light catches it so you can see that outline. And on the back, that's what we've got. So all you have to do now is cut out around. Now, if you've sewn with the similar color as your outline, you need to hold it so that you can really see that outline, so you don't cut into it, because that outline is holding the backing on, so you can't see the raw edges of the stitches on the back. So just make sure you can see. And I'm just carefully cutting around. Well, I'm not being real careful, but you want to leave about 1/8 of an inch to 1/16 of an inch. Don't go much closer than that, but around the stitching. And just trim that off. I'm going to trim that little thread. I'm going to trim this little thread. And I know people have asked before, but I'll say it again. I use my regular Ginger dressmaker shears to cut out my snap tabs because they're they make nice long strokes. So I'm gonna push these snaps on, and I'm gonna put this one on. And then I'm gonna grab my little snap press. Okay, let's put this one on. And I'm going to go over here and punch it on real quick. I put my snap pliers down somewhere, so I'm using my snap press over here. But I'm just using my snap press to apply the studs and the sockets. And then I'll use a piece of, I use some, either a key ring that I've attached a swivel lobster clasp to, or a swivel lobster clasp that has a D-ring opening on it. So when I make my designs, I make them so that they all fit the same size D-ring. The tab will fit a 3/4 inch D-ring. Okay, so here I am. Okay, so this is a swivel lobster clasp with a D-ring, and that has a 3/4 inch opening. So you just hook that around there, snap your tab together, and there you are. You're done. You got a lovely little flower. So within 30 minutes, I've got 2 now. So I'm making a bunch of these for, I think I've told you about my daughter Molly's big bake sale project. So this is part of that. So the next one she'll get to run. So anyway, I just thought I'd show you. And that's how easy it is to make a snap tab. If you've got any questions, leave them down below and we'll answer them in a minute. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks.